Welcome back to my channel. Those words echoed softly in the empty studio of Ethan Reyes's home, a line he instinctively repeated out of habit. Even though he didn't post as often as he used to, the phrase had become a reminder of a life he no longer fully lived, a life built on tech reviews, luxury lifestyle vlogs, and business advice that earned him millions of followers and even more in revenue. But now, none of that mattered. Not really. Ethan Reyes was still a millionaire single dad, but the title felt hollow these days. The world saw success, Ethan felt loss. Since the passing of his wife Anna, life had quickly become a delicate balancing act between raising their 8-year-old daughter, Lena, and managing the empire he once proudly built. Lena, bright-eyed and gentle, had been born with a neuromuscular disability. It made everyday things, lifting a spoon, holding a cup, moving her arms with ease, far more difficult than people understood. Anna had been the glue that held the family together, the quiet strength Ethan often took for granted. And now that she was gone, he carried both the responsibility and the guilt. Guilt for all the late nights at the office, guilt for all the missed dinners, guilt for thinking he had more time. That evening, Ethan made a decision. Instead of arranging another gourmet meal at home, or having yet another private chef prepare something nutritionally perfect, he chose something simple, something normal. He took Lena out to dinner. "Where are we going?" Lena asked softly from the back seat of the car, her hands resting stiffly on her lap. "A little place I used to go with your mom," Ethan said, smiling gently at her through the rearview mirror. "Thought you might like it." The diner was nothing fancy, an old-fashioned place with creaky booths, retro posters, and a jukebox that seemed stuck in the 90s. A bell jingled as they walked in, and warm light bathed them from overhead lamps shaped like stained glass. A few people glanced their way, some with curiosity, others with brief smiles. But a couple near the window paused their conversation when they saw Lena's wheelchair. Their expressions shifted, not unkind, but uncomfortable. Ethan noticed instantly. He always noticed. It was part of being a parent, especially this kind of parent. He guided Lena to a booth and helped her settle. The table felt too high for her, but he tried to adjust her chair to give her better access. "Daddy, I want to try feeding myself," Lena whispered. Ethan nodded. Of course. He gently placed the fork in her hand. Lena lifted it with effort, her fingers trembling as she tried to bring a piece of chicken toward her mouth. Halfway there, her hand jerked slightly. The fork clattered on the cable. A few drops of sauce splattered. The couple from earlier exchanged a look, an annoyed one. The man sighed, shaking his head as if the sound offended him. Ethan's jaw tightened. His shoulders stiffened. That familiar frustration, anger mixed with helplessness, rose in his chest. He swallowed it back. He didn't want Lena to feel embarrassed. "It's okay," he said gently, picking up the fork. "We'll try again." That was when someone approached. A waitress with soft brown eyes, a messy ponytail, and a name tag that read Maya stepped quietly to their table. She carried not just a notepad, but a presence that instantly softened the air around them. "Hi there," she said, her voice warm as sunlight. But she wasn't looking at Ethan. She was looking at Lena. She crouched down to Lena's level, her smile patient, her eyes sincere. Lena blinked, but nodded. "Okay." Maya gently guided Lena's fingers around the spoon, adjusting her grip with delicate precision. She didn't feed her, she helped her feed herself, guiding her arm, steadying her movements, encouraging her with every tiny success. The diner grew quiet. The couple who sighed earlier lowered their gazes. Chairs stopped scraping. Even the old jukebox seemed to fade into the background. Ethan watched, his throat tightening, his heartbeat oddly loud in his ears. "Thank you," he whispered, but his voice cracked on the words. Maya didn't look up. She just smiled at Lena. "You're doing amazing, sweetheart." In that moment, something shifted, something deep, something invisible. This young waitress didn't just feed his daughter. She fed her confidence, her dignity, her joy. And Ethan knew, standing there in that diner, that he had just witnessed the beginning of a change that would alter all their lives forever. For the rest of that week, Ethan found himself replaying the moment in the diner over and over. Not because of embarrassment, nor because of the couple who stared, but because of her, the waitress who had shown more understanding in 10 minutes than most trained specialists had shown in years. He couldn't shake the softness in Maya's voice, the gentleness in the way she held Lena's hand, the way she celebrated the smallest victories like they mattered. Because to Lena, they did. And so, when Friday evening rolled around, Ethan asked, "Lena, how about we go back to that diner?" Her eyes lit up, really lit up. "Do you think Miss Maya will be there?" "I hope so," he replied. He meant it. The moment they entered the diner, Maya looked up from behind the counter. Her face brightened instantly, a genuine, unforced smile that radiated warmth. "You're back," she chirped, walking over. She crouched near Lena's wheelchair. "And there's my superstar, ready for round 2? Lena giggled, her shoulders lifting slightly. Ethan hadn't heard her giggle in weeks. Maya guided them to the same booth as last time, but today she brought something extra, a small cloth pouch. She gently opened it and laid the contents on the table. Inside were adaptive utensils, lightweight, easy-grip forks and spoons with soft foam handles designed for kids with motor difficulties. Ethan blinked. "You bought these?" Maya shrugged casually, though a faint blush crept up her cheeks. "I saw them online. They help with grip and wrist stability. I wanted Lena to try." "You didn't have to," Ethan murmured. "I know," she said simply, "but I wanted to." Her sincerity was disarming. Ethan, who casually signed checks worth millions, felt speechless in front of a waitress who spent tip money on his daughter without hesitation. Lena reached out and touched one of the utensils. "It's soft." "Try it," Maya encouraged, moving beside her again. For the next hour, Maya worked with Lena one-on-one, guiding her elbow when needed, gently correcting her grip, celebrating even the smallest improvement. "Yes, that's it, Lena. Look how steady your hand is." Ethan watched from across the booth, his heart swelling every time Lena smiled in triumph. This wasn't therapy. This wasn't training. It was connection. It was patience turned into progress. And the progress was staggering. After a few minutes, Lena managed to lift a piece of pancake on her own. The spoon wobbled, but it didn't fall. She brought it to her mouth, her eyes widening in surprise as she succeeded. "Mama would be proud of me," Lena whispered. Ethan felt his chest tighten. He looked down, swallowing emotion he didn't know how to express. Maya didn't say anything. She simply placed a comforting hand on Lena's shoulder and whispered, "I'm proud of you too." That night, the three of them talked after the diner closed. Maya sat with them in the booth, her apron folded on her lap, her hair falling loose around her shoulders. Ethan finally asked the question that had been on his mind. "Maya, how do you know so much about helping kids like Lena?" She hesitated. Her fingers traced the edge of her apron absently. "I was studying to become an occupational therapist," she admitted softly. "I made it to my second year, but tuition got impossible. My mom got sick, my job hours increased, and school just..." She exhaled, slipped away. Ethan felt a pang of respect and guilt. He had thrown away money on meaningless luxuries while someone like her struggled just to stay in school. "Why didn't you go back?" he asked. She shrugged, but her eyes gave away the truth. She didn't see a way. "I'm saving," she said quietly. "Someday, maybe." Ethan looked at her with new understanding. This wasn't kindness. It wasn't pity. It wasn't charity. It was passion, purpose, heart. And Lena adored her. Over the next few weeks, visits to the diner became part of their routine. It wasn't about the food. It was about the atmosphere, the laughter, the progress, the feeling that Lena wasn't a patient or a case, but a child, learning, growing, thriving. One evening, as Lena practiced lifting her cup with a special straw Maya found at a thrift shop, Ethan watched her with awe. "You're improving so fast," he told her. "That's because Miss Maya believes I can," Lena replied proudly. Those words hit Ethan harder than anything. His daughter didn't need money. She didn't need fancy equipment. She needed someone who believed in her. And that someone was a waitress. A waitress who had given Lena hope. A waitress who had given him perspective. And he knew, deep down, that it was time for him to give something back. Something big, something life-changing. Not because she asked,
but because she deserved it. And because kindness like hers had changed their lives forever.
A month passed, and in that time, everything changed in ways Ethan never expected. Mornings began with Lena practicing her grip using the utensils Maya had brought. Afternoons were spent outdoors, where Lena pushed herself a little harder each day, lifting her cup, moving her arms with more control, and even attempting small tasks she had never dared to try before. Evenings were filled with laughter, the kind that had disappeared from their home ever since Anna passed. And through it all, there was one constant: Maya. Not as a waitress anymore, but as something far more important, someone who genuinely cared about Lena's progress, someone who believed in her without conditions, someone whose presence brought warmth into their lives. Ethan realized something profound. You can buy experts, specialists, caregivers, but you can't buy heart. And Maya had it in abundance. One quiet Thursday morning, Ethan drove to the diner alone. He wanted to talk to Maya without customers around, without Lena overhearing anything that might confuse or overwhelm her. He stepped inside and the familiar bell jingled. The diner was almost empty. Sunlight spilled across the tables through the wide windows, casting soft golden reflections on the worn floor. Maya was wiping down a booth, humming a tune softly under her breath. When she saw Ethan, she straightened and smiled. "Good morning. Lena isn't with you today?" "She's at home," Ethan said gently. "I actually came to talk to you." Immediately, worry flickered in her eyes. "Is something wrong? Is Lena okay?" "She's perfect," he reassured quickly. "More than perfect. Because of you." Maya let out a breath of relief, but curiosity filled her expression. Ethan reached into the inside pocket of his jacket and pulled out a sealed envelope. Cream-colored, weighty, elegant, the kind used for awards or formal invitations. He extended it toward her. "What's this?" Maya asked, eyebrows lifting. "Open it," he said. She hesitated, hands trembling slightly as she tore the seal and pulled out the papers inside. Her eyes scanned the first page, then the second. Then she froze. Her lips parted, her breath hitched. "Ethan? This? No, I can't. This can't be real." "It's very real," he replied softly. Inside the envelope was a fully paid scholarship, tuition, books, fees, for her to finish her occupational therapy degree at the university she had once attended. Along with that was a monthly living stipend so she wouldn't have to work double shifts or choose between rent and studying. Tears filled her eyes instantly, overflowing in silent streams down her cheeks. "Ethan," she whispered, voice cracking, "I can't accept this. I'm just a waitress. You don't have to." "It's not because I have to," he interrupted gently. "It's because you earned it, because you deserve it, and because my daughter wouldn't be where she is without you." Maya covered her mouth with shaking hands. "But this is too much." "No." Ethan stepped closer. "You gave my daughter confidence, hope, strength. You gave her something no doctor or therapist ever could. You gave me something too, a wake-up call." She shook her head, overwhelmed. "But why me? Why invest so much?" "Because you're meant for more than this diner," he said. "Because your heart is exactly what the world needs. And because I believe in you, just like you believed in Lena." Silence hung between them, soft, emotional, transformative. After a moment, Ethan added something else, reaching into his folder again. "There's one more thing." Maya blinked, stunned. "More?" He handed her a neatly printed contract. "This is a job offer," he explained. "A full-time position as Lena's developmental coach. Flexible hours, full salary, benefits. You can finish your degree, and after you graduate, your position will transition into pediatric occupational therapy. Lena needs stability, and you've become an important part of her journey." Maya stared at the contract, speechless. "Ethan, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," he replied softly. Her tears returned, but they were tears of joy. "Yes," she whispered, 1,000 times yes. When Ethan brought her home later that day to share the news with Lena, the little girl squealed with excitement and wrapped her arms, shaky but determined, around Maya. From that day forward, their bond grew even stronger. Maya worked with Lena daily, helping her build independence, strength, and confidence. Lena's progress astonished her doctors. She could lift her cup, she could bring a spoon to her mouth, she could hold small toys, she could smile without hesitation. But the real transformation was inside her.
the way she believed in herself. A few weeks later, Ethan set up his camera, but this time, he wasn't filming a tech review or a motivational talk. He looked into the lens with a soft smile and said, "Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is different. I want to tell you about someone who changed my daughter's life and mine." The camera pans to Lena, feeding herself with the adaptive utensils Maya had bought with her tip money. Then, it pans to Maya, standing shyly in the doorway. Ethan continued, "Sometimes the people with the least give the most, and sometimes a single act of kindness can change a family forever." And that day, it did.